Be fine.
Bullying. It's a charge that's been laid against our Prime Minister in recent weeks.
I can tell you what, he's probably one of the most unpleasant men I've ever had to sit in front of. He is a bully, he is intimidating, and that's the truth of the matter.
Members of his own party have denounced Scott Morrison's past behaviour, which they claim has been inappropriate and abusive.
There is a very appropriate saying here: the fish stinks from the head. It is his way or the highway. An autocrat, a bully who has no moral compass.
How can we ignore what she says, what Gladys Berejiklian says, what numerous other of his colleagues says? It all comes down to character. You're a guy that sits here and talks about how important someone's soul, someone's character is. Shouldn't we be examining his character too?
Well, of course, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny of character. That's not going to change.
It's not looking good.
But the challenge, the biggest change in politics that I've seen is social media. And what social media does is it gives a loud horn to the critics. The volume of the critics is far, far louder than the volume of the advocates. And of course, if people are constantly being criticised, everyone rolls out that line, where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, that is just, in this world, it's, you know, you're condemned before you even get a trial.
Is there a pattern here though?
And I think it's terrible. I think it's terrible.
No, I mean a pattern of behaviour from the Prime Minister.
No, I never saw evidence of that at all. I mean, Scott Morrison, you know, from my perspective, you know, and seeing him as, you know, when he was Prime Minister and I was Ambassador, he was very honourable.
But Joe Hockey says conniving backroom behaviour is common. It ended his career and lifelong ambition to be Prime Minister. You write in the book as well, if you would have stayed, you would have become vengeful. Why?
Well, because I was stabbed in the back.
By who?
Well, it's well documented. I mean, a number of colleagues, you know, they didn't have conviction. They didn't believe in things. They just believed in, you know, higher office, and so that's their call. You know, I've always been a conviction person, and believe that you have to have the courage to do what's right rather than what's popular. That's why I despise independents. They only go to the things that are popular. They never do things that are unpopular.
But there is love for the Labor Party leader.
I really like Anthony Albanese. He's a very decent guy. But I said to him, I can't vote for you. I'm a Liberal, right? So that's the way it is. You know,
you describe him as thoroughly decent, actually.
He is, yeah.
You don't even come close to describing the current leadership like that.
I've known Anthony Albanese for a very long time, and he formed, you know, he came to my father's funeral. You know, he formed a relationship with my dad. That meant a lot to me. You know, he never, you know, I mean, he really never had a dad in his life. You know, and I've travelled a few journeys with him, and so, you know, you're more effusive about someone you really do know. You're
the son of a Palestinian immigrant. You're named after a Labor Prime Minister. Did you pick the wrong party?
No, I picked the right party. And that party picked me as well, because, you know, all the things that, you know, yeah. It's
You're thinking about your dad?
Yeah.
He's a good man.
He was, yeah.
He really shaped you, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bondi Partners?
Well, that's where, you know, my dad came here, set up a delicatessen in Bondi. And then the beach model, Australian beach model, walked in. Two countries coming together.
Do you think he'd be proud of you today?
I hope so.
Do you know it?
Oh, God. That's terrible.
I know it, Joe.
I can't do that. I can't. No.
Sorry.
You're right.
This veteran diplomat knows peace should not be taken for granted. Hockey believes recent events in Ukraine prove the importance of international cooperation and free trade. Nations should look outward rather than inward, and he has grave fears for the future.
The massive crisis facing the world at this very moment is not energy costs, is not even the horrible conflict in Ukraine, it is the impact of the conflict in Ukraine and the potential loss of food production out of Ukraine and Russia and the impact that is going to have in Africa and the Middle East. I mean, this is, you know, the Arab Spring came about because of food shortages in some countries. This is going to be a really serious threat to the world over the next 6 to 12 months.
Are we on the brink of some kind of worldwide conflict?
God, I hope not. I hope not. It's, you know, if people can't get access to food, and if people can't get access, and countries can't get access to resources, that is the precursor for war.
A gloomy outlook from a man who's seen his share of tumult. As one of our top diplomats, Joe Hockey navigated complex characters, awkward surprises and stubborn foes. Now no longer in the halls of power. He, like the rest of us, relies on our current leaders to protect an even more precarious peace.